I remember when I got my first Dreamcast. That was a whole 3 weeks ago. Honestly, did anybody own a Dreamcast when it was still alive? No one I knew did. Then again, I grew up in a Cleveland suburb where the high schoolers played Pokemon trading card tournaments and somehow didn't get their asses kicked for it, and students would injure themselves during lockdowns to hide drugs from the cops. But enough about my weird childhood. Almost a year into its existence, a game came out produced and directed by Yu Suzuki, the same guy behind games like Virtua Fighter and Virtua Cop. Shenmue, classified by Yu as a full reactive eyes entertainment game, and even more retarded people as an adventure game, was highly regarded for its graphics and cinematic presentation, in addition to things like the quick-time event sequences and the uniquely designed environments. That and playing as a martial artist with a vast array of ways to kick the crap out of everybody in town helps too. Although I admit I'm a little skeptical of Shenmue because I'm a little superstitious. You see, Shenmue is 3 discs long. And the last game I played that was 3 discs long, I wound up hating it so much I set it on fire. Oh well. The game starts in Yokosuka, Japan on November 29th, 1986. When I was almost 2 years old, the Iran-Contra affair was in full swing. The top song in the US was Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name, and neon clothes were still fashionable. Man, I don't remember the 80s sucking that much. We first see our hero, Ryo Hazuki, training for the Olympic marathon, when he finds his property broken into, and a black car parked outside. Oh shit, the Japanese IRS is foreclosing the dojo! Is it just me, or does Ryo have the loudest footsteps known to mankind? Ine-san! 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 Here, let me give you a back rub.
Ryo-san, I'm alright, but Hazuki-sensei...
My father?
Yes, your dad, like your mom, has fallen and he can't get up. Oh, and before we go any farther, I'd like to begin forming
the Ryo Hazuki Emotion Chart.
Confusion. Surprise. Ryo leaves the maid to freeze to death in the snow, and he walks very slowly toward the dojo. My guess is he's giving the orchestra time to recover from that musical orgasm they just had. Anyway, he stands in front of the dojo and stares dramatically at the door for a few seconds until...
Fukusan! Fukusan!
Wait, did he just call him Fukusan?
Fukusan! Fukusan!
Son of a fucking bitch, he did! Now, the character's actual name is Masayuki Fukuhara, and the short version of that is Fukusan. However, Ryo's voice actor keeps pronouncing it Fukusan. Oh, and we get to add to the emotion chart... concern. After leaving Fukusan to freeze to death, Ryo enters the dojo and gets stopped by a pair of suits while his dad is confronted by Lan Di, who could very well be more elf than Chinese. Either that or he's an anorexic Steven Seagal.
For the last time, where is the mirror?
My guess is he's looking for a mirror so he can style his hair and put on his geisha makeup. Anyway, Lan Di and Ryo's dad have a fight. Ryo's dad eventually loses said fight, and despite his father's martial arts training, Ryo instead tries to tackle Lan Di, which goes about as well as expected.
Now then, no matter how often you ask, I'll never tell. No, don't! Hand over the mirror.
Wait, is he being strangled or is he hacking up an egg roll? Oh, and now we get to add another emotion to the chart. Pain.
Or else, your son
gets punched in the dick.
Wait! The mirror! It's buried under the cherry tree.
Okay, seriously. Why didn't Landy try this with either the maid or Fuxan? I doubt the dad would have let either of them die either. His name's Fuxan. I'm sorry for focusing on the introduction this long, but these are 9 minutes that are sort of relevant to the game. And I know 9 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, especially after Metal Gear 4, but this was a long time to sit through a game. Anyway, Landy asks Ryo's dad,
Do you remember Chao Sun Ming?
Chao?
That's the name of the man you killed in Moon Swoon.
It can't be. You!
Get up. I'll allow you to die like a warrior.
Hadouken!
Landy's men eventually retrieve the mirror, which is amazingly clean considering it was buried under a tree for who knows how long. And wait a minute, that's not a mirror, that's a coaster!
Keep friends, those you love, close to you.
Sadness. Wow. This went from a kung fu flick to a Barney the Dinosaur episode like that!
No. Father! No!
And now it's raining at night even though it was just snowing in broad daylight 5 seconds ago.
Seriously, I do not understand this time change that they tried to do here. Although, I guess you can sort of forgive it because weather in Japan can be kind of crazy at times, and... What, 4 days later? You mean Ryo hasn't done anything for 4 days? In theory, he could be waiting for the cops to do something. But then again, there are next to no signs of any kind of law enforcement near this point in the game. So, did nobody call them, or did nobody know about it?
I heard about it from Nozomi. It must be hard for you. I'm really sorry about your father. Is it something to do with what happened to your father?
Okay, so everybody knew about it, but if Ryo was going to look into this himself the entire time, why did he wait 4 days before he finally did anything? I don't know, but apparently Ryo has recurring nightmares of Landy using quarter circle forward punch on his dad. Did you know you could replace this music with the theme to The Young and the Restless and most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference? So anyway, Ryo wakes up from his nightmare and we can finally start playing the game. He has a memo pad which... Wait. Police? Call the police, you fool! This is the memo pad where Ryo writes down everything. Phone numbers, clues behind his father's murder, the whereabouts of Landy, anything. And he also writes down pointless shit like, what happened that day in the dojo? I don't know, Ryo. I mean, it's not like you were there or anything. Okay, enough pointless rambling. Let's get to the game! Now the first thing you'll notice when you start playing is how awkward the movement controls are. Every time you try to turn, Ryo moves forward unless he's already standing next to something. And of course, they start you off in the worst place to get used to this. The small rooms and narrow hallways of the Hazuki residence. You can also use one of the trigger buttons to go into first-person mode and interact with the environment. And you can open or use damn near anything here. But 90% of the time, you're just opening random drawers, checking random closets, and taking random scrolls and pictures off the wall in the vain hope that you'll find something useful. When you do find an item, Ryo uses his apparently robotic arm to pick it up first. Then you can turn it over to look at it before collecting it. Why? Who does this, much less with things that they own?